Good morning, rookie realtors. Let's just get adjusted here with all the things that are the gadgets that gets us on the screen. Just want to make sure you can see me. This time I am on live Facebook as well as on Zoom and on YouTube. So we will get to see, well, if you so choose your platform, you will get to see me on any of these mediums. So we'll go ahead and get started here shortly. Well, we are started. Welcome to the free 5-day Rookie Realtor Challenge. Today is day 4, and I'm excited to share with you a journey through real estate. Now, you may be in the process of getting your license. You may already have your license. Whatever your particular situation is, I am going to get that light off the screen. There we go. Whatever your particular situation is, I am here to share a story in hopes of encouraging you on how you can make your particular business decision and career a lot quicker, a lot faster, with some support, with some help, with some mentorship, with some guidance. As I said at the beginning, on day 1, that is as simple as ABCs. Now, there's a barrier to entry, which is a real estate license. So of course, if you're looking at having a career in real estate, I hope you can hear me, you will need a real estate license, of course. Yesterday, I was talking about the moat, but I want to go back to day 1 where I talked about it's as easy as ABCs, 1, 2, 3. That's where I talked about you could 5X your business by starting with that one lead, that one sale, that one transaction, and ask, and ask for the referrals. That's what you do. That's how you 5X your business. Now, when I started out, I said that I had recently got out of the military and that I jumped into this business with no idea of being an entrepreneur. Now, that word may seem a bit strange if you haven't heard that word in the framework of real estate, but real estate is an entrepreneur business, or at least it can be. Oops. Okay, I have my other screen that keeps getting calls. So this particular business is an entrepreneur-based business. So you get to decide, number 1, who you want to work with, and number 2, who you want to work with you. So that works both ways. They also get to decide who they want to work with. So you get the opportunity to, quote unquote, sell yourself. Now, day 1, I'm going to do a brief recap. When I talked about the ABCs 1, 2, 3, I talked about what that consists of. A being a name. You need to know who you're working with. And of course, they need to know who they're working with. So a name, a complete name would be ideal. But if you only have a first name, that's fine. Because the number 2 or the B in ABCs, the B is a phone number. You must have a phone number. That number will lead you into communications either by phone or by text messaging. Simple, right? ABCs. And then the C is the email address. Get the email address, a full email address, so that you can set up your business to stay in communication with your contacts, with your leads. So again, ABC 1, 2, 3. That was day 1, went over that. And I also said that you take that and that becomes the foundation of your business. In essence, it's your database. This database is what you would use to propel your business forward. Now, when I first started in this business, I had no idea what to do. I was licensed and I was actually dangerous because there are actual legal contracts that we're entrusted with. We're trusted to provide a service for people in a legal manner, right? Because contracts are legal documents. And once you have your license, you're able to write these contracts. It's very important that you have someone review what you're writing. Now, I will say in the state of Washington, the first 2 years when you're in real estate, the managing broker or the designated broker are the ones that have to or are responsible for reviewing your contract work. So in essence, you don't write anything without the knowledge of the managing broker or designated broker. And the reason that the managing broker or designated broker are responsible because there's a liability and a risk in you transacting business for someone. Because if you do something wrong, there's what's called errors and omissions. If you haven't heard of that, errors and omissions is what we use in real estate, in licensing, when we make a mistake. So if there's a mistake, not only are you responsible, but your managing broker is responsible and your brokerage or your firm is also responsible. So both are responsible for what happens with your contracts if you make a mistake. What happens if someone feels they've been harmed? It's a very litigious business. So it's important that you protect yourself by ensuring that you have someone to advocate and to support you in your business. Now, if you enter into a large brokerage or a large firm that's pretty systemized, then you'll have someone, a managing broker, to provide oversight for you. And that's to keep you safe, to keep you out of court, basically. And so the managing broker's duties are to provide oversight, mentorship, support for new licensees. Now, if you're in a smaller office, then you might have more contact with the designated broker or managing broker. It just depends on how that office is structured. Now, when I started out in real estate, I basically was in a pretty large office and I had other experienced brokers around me. I was in a bullpen, if you can imagine. A bullpen is where it's mostly in tech shops. You see that sort of scenario where you've seen on The Office where people kind of look over the bullpen. Well, that was the setting that I had when I first started in real estate. And so I would sit there and not really know what to do. I didn't know who to call. I didn't know what I didn't know. So I listened and I listened and I listened. I listened to, hopefully my volume is up. I'm not hearing the sound quality. I just want to make sure that I am not silent. There we go. So I know you can hear me. I sat in a bullpen and I listened. I listened to people who were in real estate a lot longer than I was to hear the sort of conversations they would have. And most of the time they were talking to people they already had relationships with. So I did not experience the art of prospecting. The art of prospecting is where you make calls to people and inquire of their need for business or real estate services. So prospecting is very important to start your business, to jumpstart your business. And remember the ABCs 1, 2, 3. So you take that information and you start formulating your database. So you have your database, and that is your foundation for your business. That is what is going to help you grow and become the successful, not rookie realtor, but expert realtor, right? Pro. Well, you could be a rookie. Rookies can win awards. I actually won an award the first year in real estate, and it was called the rookie. What was it called? Now I'm forgetting what it was called, but it was a rookie award. It said, persistence, the Rookie Persistence Award. That was what I received when I first started in real estate. So that Persistence Award was my um, acknowledgement from my mentorship, from my leadership, that I was pursuing business. Now, granted, I didn't really know how to pursue business, but I was pursuing it in, as Malcolm X says, by all means necessary, because I was very interested in learning this business. I had just gotten out of the military. I needed some finances. I needed some tangible money to live off of. And maybe you're in that situation. Maybe you're in a position where you are looking at making this a career and you have cut all strings. Some of you may be 1 foot in business or 1 foot in a job and 1 foot in exploring a career. Some of you may just want to jump in 100% real estate. You may be retired. I know when I started real estate, there were several brokers that were retired. In fact, the broker that sold me my first house was the inspiration behind me deciding to get into real estate. The question I'd ask you is, who inspires you? Who are you looking toward in this industry to give you the support, the leg up that you need? Now, there are many ways to do that. You can join a team. You can join a managing broker pool. Well, that's not the right word, but it's a team. It's basically a team. Designated broker can provide assistance, or you can get a coach or a mentor. So there's several different ways. I particularly have a coach. I have several coaches. I have coaches that help me in online platforms. I have coaches that help me in my daily business to give me tools to help me be better in business, to grow business, to explore business. I have mentors that help me in all facets of things that are important to me. So I do have an interest in getting a sports coach, physical coach, because I need to start exercising more. So there's coaches for everything. Coaches help encourage us, give us some guidance, but ultimately we need to do the work. Coaches don't do the work for you. Mentors don't do the work for you. You ultimately need to do the work yourself. So that's important. I want to finish a little bit of what I went over on day one. I talked about the ABCs, 1, 2, 3. Oh, lead magnet. Talked about, okay, apologize. Oops. Apologize. A lead magnet. I talked about you are the lead magnet. You are the one who, let me turn this volume up on this one. You are the one that attracts the business. You may think that it's where you work. You may think it's the big franchise that you are a part of, but ultimately people want to work with other people and people want to work with you. What is your selling point? What differentiates you from the crowd? What separates you from people that want to work with you? What separates you from other people that have their licenses? Remember, I said the barrier to entry is just a license. Just think about it in other capacities when there's, I'll say a dentist, because a dentist is a doctor, but do you go to a dentist and not expect that that dentist knows what they're doing, that that dentist doesn't take educational courses to refresh their knowledge? Do they just go to school, learn what they need to learn, get their degree, and then continue to work on people? No. Most professionals will continue to enrich their knowledge, grow their education, because if they don't, then they're going to be stagnant and not rise to the level of a person that provides professional services. And so I would encourage you, if you're in this business, if you're considering this business, to continue your education, to continue growing. This internet, this social media platform gives us the opportunity to learn more. You can go online, you can go on YouTube and almost find anything free. You can learn how to do, I actually went on YouTube to learn how to lock my car door because my car door kept staying open. So you can go on YouTube to learn pretty much anything you want. Now with Facebook and all these other platforms, you can also search different groups or pages that are offering services that you're interested in learning more about. So this platform, whether it's Facebook, YouTube, or Instagram, or even Google Hangouts. I mean, there's so many different opportunities to grow your business, to stretch your message. And so lead capture basically means that you are fishing, if you will, and you have a hook. And that hook has some bait on it. And that bait is what you're using to attract people. And so what I'd like to say is that you are the lead magnet. You are the bait, if you will. And so you are not only the bait, but you are the service that you can provide to the people who want to work with you and ultimately to the people that you want to work with. Too loud in this microphone. I will find out in the review. Okay, I talked about what do you have to offer. Each of us comes with our own history, our own expertise, our own knowledge outside of real estate. And anything with outside of real estate that you have to offer can only accent or augment what you offer to your clients and to your customers and to the public. And so don't discount what you already have. If you have a degree, if you have a skill, if you have a way of doing things that are very different and unique, as long as you're within the confines of the structure of business, meaning you're not creating your own contracts, you're not creating things like that. But if you're talking about marketing materials, something that you have that you want to use to provide to the public, you might be a good creator of commercials, ads. You might want to go live on Facebook every day and deliver content, something to the people that want to work with you. Deliver that content. And when you do, something magical will happen. But you need to be consistent. Do something every day for the people that you want to work with. Now, does that mean you have to send messages to people every day? No, just means you create something of value for people to stay in contact with them. And then once you create that database with those ABCs, the name, phone number, and email, you will build that foundation and grow your business. So it's very important that you use what you have and what you already know to grow your business. Now, it's important that we have the right mindset. So what I mean by the right mindset is having the ability to think that you can do this, right? It's like an affirmation. And I did put in the Facebook page the lifesavers, the 6 lifesavers. And on the previous day, I gave 4 lifesavers. And the 2 that I did not give had to do with reading and journaling. And so it's important to read every day. Read at least 30 minutes a day, and at least 30 minutes a day, whether that's something you do in the morning, like a devotional, whether that's something you do in the evening before bed, just get the reading in because that helps the mindset. It strengthens your mind, helps you to grow in knowledge because that's important. The more you know, the more you can share, the more you can help. And so read 30 minutes a day. The other part, is journaling. Now, journaling is very important to do when you have an idea. It does not have to be something you sit down in a quiet time and just journal. But when an idea comes to mind, write it down. Write it down. It's so important to write it down because our minds are always traveling and we think so many thoughts at a short period of time. And by the time we realize that we should have written it down, the thought leaves us. I've experienced that many times. I've had a thought maybe in the middle of the night, maybe even right before I go to bed, and I thought, oh, maybe I should write that down. And I don't. And when I don't write it down, I forget it. Even when I tell myself, I'm going to remember that, I forget it. Maybe you've experienced that, but write it down. That is what journaling is. There's no specific amount of time that you need to journal or would be recommended to journal. I don't think there is, but if there is, you can also find that on YouTube. But journal, just write things down so that you can remember. We talked about the difference between warm leads and cold leads. Now, when you create your database, that is people that you know, like, and trust you. So that would be a warm database, a warm lead. Now, I didn't really talk about what a lead is. What is a lead? A lead is something someone gives you, right? It could be warm or cold. So, yeah, it could be warm or cold. A lead could be warm or cold. So a lead is just that, something that's a possibility, something that could turn into a buyer or seller, could turn into a customer or a client. So a customer is someone who is consuming business, right? You could have someone come up and you could provide services for them as a customer. But ideally, you want to provide services to clients. The difference between a customer and a client has to do with a contract. So a customer does not have a contractual relationship with you. A client does. And in real estate, there's two types of clients. Actually, I will take that back. There's more. There's actually three. So one is a buyer, one is a seller. Well, actually, there's four. One is a property owner, and one is a tenant. So you could basically have four different revenues in real estate. You could be in the sales business where you're working with buyers to sell real estate. You could be in the listing business where you're listing real estate to sell it. You could be in the property management business where you manage properties for other owners, property owners. Or you could be in the landlord business where you manage rental units for owners. So the relationship you have is with the owner for the contract. You also have a relationship with the tenant because there's a lease. And so there's four different ways that you can approach real estate. When I started, as I said, I heard what was going on in the office behind me, beside me, around me, because I was in a bullpen. Now I heard people talking about rentals, property management. And I thought, okay, how can I make money in property management? I didn't know. And so I listened and I listened, and then I purchased my first rental unit. And I, by default, became a landlord. So I had that experience, that personal experience of managing my own property. And once I did that for a while, I learned how to manage my own rental. I started managing rentals for others. So I contacted property owners, maybe people that I had already sold properties for, asked them if they did not want to sell their property, maybe they would consider renting it out, which they did. So then at one time, I accumulated in excess of 100 rental units. Now, at that time, that was my goal. You may have a goal. Your goal may be, okay, I want to start by purchasing my own rental property, being my own first client, learning how to manage my own rental, and then I can manage rentals for others. So there's a progression. Unless you have some experience managing your own rental, it might be a little challenging to speak to owners about managing their rentals. Because again, what you have to offer is your experience, what you have done in the past. Now, purchasing your own property, we did talk about that for a bit earlier this week, but purchasing your own property, you can be your own first client, your own first piece of business. And that is marvelous. Now, in the state of Washington, if you do write your own contract, you need to say that you are somewhere in the contract, you need to state that you are the broker and the buyer. Broker is buyer. Now, there's a term we typically put in a contract to say selling broker is related to buyer. That's what you would say, but you're actually the same person, or you can be the same person. Okay. So I want to encourage you to get your own business, be your own lead magnet, purchase your own property, purchase your own rental property, start managing your own rental property, and grow your personal portfolio. Then you can extend your personal portfolio out to start working with others. Now, there's a thing called commingling. You do not commingle anything that you have personal with your professional. So in essence, if you are managing properties for other people, you don't manage properties for yourself and keep those in the same account. Hope that makes sense. That's what commingling is. So the properties that I manage of my own go into my own personal account. The properties that I manage for others go in a different account, a separate account. It's called a trust account because they're trusting me to manage their properties. So that's separate. So you may decide to grow your business. That's another revenue stream. I saw that early on as a possibility. Right now, we're still in an upward market. Things are moving. Everything is relatively hot. We are reaching a season where typically things start to cool down. Now, we don't really know if that's going to happen. And people typically want to know, well, what do you see on the horizon? Well, we just got through with the moratorium on mortgages. That just expired yesterday. Unless there was an extension, and I'll have to check online to see if there was an extension. But what that means is servicers, banks, mortgage companies can start seeking remedy for people who are in default. And if you've been around any length of time, you know that our housing market hit a bubble. And at that time, we had a serious amount of foreclosures and defaults. Now, that was an opportunity for buyers to change the market and become investors. Buyers were buying up property. Investors were buying up property. That has the potential to occur again. Right now, we are in a seller's market. Sellers are typically putting homes on market either at value or slightly above and still getting multiple offers. That is still occurring now. However, that's not going to happen always. Real estate is cyclical. Right now, we're in a seller's market. We may shift in the very near future to a buyer's market. We don't know. But right now, we are still in a seller's market. And buyers that have been out, what's the word? They've been all out bought or out purchased or pushed out of the market, if you will, may see a window of opportunity in 2022 to get back in the market, even with the same types of properties that we're selling for much higher value. So that's something that I do see as a possibility of happening very soon. Okay. So I talked about warm cold leads. Okay, didn't talk much about cold leads today, but cold leads is what you can use this platform for, meaning you can use social media to drive cold traffic to your website, to your Facebook page. Now, if you do not have your Facebook business page, I suggest you create one. So you have your own personal page, and then you can create a Facebook business page. And within the Facebook business page, you can create ads. Ads, you would have to also have a Facebook business manager. So you have your personal page, you have your Facebook business page, and then you go into your ads manager to create ads. Now, ads are something you would need to pay for. You can start out with a very low cost, or you can rev it up. But I'd say before creating ads, use organic traffic. Organic traffic is where you create invitations to people that you want to work with. You can create a message on your phone, create a personal message and send it on Messenger. You can create a message on Facebook and send it to different people. You know, you can have your select group of people that you want to send it to. You don't have to send it to every friend. Um, it's organic targeting is where you are specifically inviting the people that you want to do business with, whatever you want to do in that regards of business, whether it's listings or sales or rentals. You want to seek owners of rentals, or if you want to seek tenants, maybe you want to find tenants rental units, because we don't really have very many opportunities for that. And that could be a niche that you're seeking. And it would be something that would be very easy to get started, because you can be as creative as you want to be on these social medias. Okay, day 2, I talked about momentum. How do we gain momentum? How do we grow? How do we scale our business? Well, I gave you one simple formula, which was 5x your business, right? If you remember that, 5x your business, that is one simple formula to accelerate your business. And you can multiply that. So with every new transaction, every new ready, willing, and able buyer that you have a buyer agency agreement with, you ask for referrals, ask for referrals, ask for referrals. Continue to ask for referrals. That is how you grow and scale your business. I kind of equate it to a river stream, right? Rivers typically run. There's a river that runs, right? And if you were to put a dam across that river, it would stop. And so your business is like that. Asking for referrals is like not having anything stopping the flow of your business. By putting the dam in place, that's stopping your business. That's the equivalent to having one transaction, doing everything to get that transaction closed. And when it closes, you have no more business, no new business, because you haven't cultivated your field. Your field is wherever you walk, wherever you are in relationship with other people, whatever communities you are with. Those are people that need to know that you are in the business, that you are looking for business, that you welcome the business, because a closed mouth can't get fed. So open your mouth, ask for the business, and you will get it. It's just as simple as that. I talked about morning routines. It's important to get in that mindset to start your day with a good morning routine. And on the page, I put those lifesavers on the page. Scripts, scripts, scripts are great. However, you need to personalize it and do role playing. I just listened to some role playing this morning about some objections that people had about listing properties. It's great to hear those role plays. It's also better to be part of the role play. Pick someone that you can test on, especially if you've made an appointment. You have an appointment, so you want to role play what's going to happen at that appointment before you go in. And so it just goes as simple as this. Let's say we're role playing. Ring, ring. Hello, this is Kathy. I'd like to make an appointment with you to list your property. Something like that. But it won't be that to the point. I don't know what the scenario is. So if I had a scenario, let's say someone called you and you're following up with them. You're following up with them concerning the possibility of selling their property. So your goal on the phone is to get the appointment. So once you have the appointment, then you want to role play what you're going to do at that appointment. You prepare, you get all your documents together to provide a pre-listing presentation or a buyer presentation. You get all your information together, and then you get on the phone with someone you know, like, and trust, and do a role play. Hey, Sally, I'm about to go on a listing appointment. Can you spare about 5 minutes? I want to role play what's going to happen when I go into that appointment. And then you role play. Hello, my name is blah, blah, blah. I called you on the phone. We had an appointment today. And then you go inside and you ask, if you could tour the property first. There's certain steps that you would need to take in that process. But when you do the role play on the phone, you want to role play kind of that scenario as you walk through. So when you walk through, it won't be a surprise. It won't be a surprise. And the person that role plays with you needs to come up with some objections to kind of challenge you, to keep you on your feet. Because people will say things to kind of cut you short, and you need to be quick on your feet. And in order to be quick on your feet, you have to practice. So that's very important to do that role play. Practice, practice, practice. So with scripts, it's great to do scripts on the phone. However, when you are reading a script, people can tell, and that doesn't really help. If you're reading a script, let me see how I can get my eyes aligned. Oops. Sorry. I just rotated my camera. Scripts. That's funny. Scripts are great. However, when you're reading a script, people can tell. Have you ever been on the phone and you've heard someone call you and you could tell they're reading a script and immediately you want to hang up? So I would suggest to make the script more personal. If it's a script working with a buyer, then you want to make sure you say something that would be natural to you, not something that's scripted. If it's not natural to you to start out with a joke, then don't start out with a joke. If it's not natural to you to talk about the weather, don't talk about the weather. Hey, how's the weather? I don't know. It's cold and rainy. Do what works well for you, right? Make it personal to you. Scripts, very important. So I talked about that some on day 2. Day 3, we talked about limiting beliefs. And so this business is a business of, feeling that you can or can't do something. So you go into go in with your buyers finding property for them, or them finding the perfect property that they bring to you that they want you to represent them on, or a listing that you maybe feel is out of your league, or maybe a listing that you feel is beneath you. It's a mindset. I personally don't see any business that's beneath me. or any business that's above me. And so that's a mindset that only you can determine. And so decide right now what type of business you want. What type of business do you want? And visualize. That's another lifesaver and something that will help you in your appointments. And I've heard that athletes do this all the time. They visualize winning. They vocalize winning. And so you believe what you tell yourself more than what someone else tells you. So if you would vocalize that you can do it, that you can get this listing, you can get this sale, you can get this owner, you can get this tenant, whatever the business is, decide with your mindset that you are capable of getting the job done. You are capable of getting the contract signed. You are capable of getting the appointment because ultimately you decide. You decide. Because what happens if, and that's something that you need to think about during your visualization, the objections, not just getting the goal. If they object, I will come back with a counter that would be powerful enough to get them to commit, to get them to sign the contract, to get them to buy. That is the goal. That is the possibility. You can do this. Yes, you can. Yes, you can. Okay, toolkit. No matter where you work, it's important that you have your tools. A mechanic would not go out and start working on a car and not have any tools. Just like a realtor will not go out and transact business and not have any tools. Now, some of the tools are very simple and they're at our disposal and they're on the phone right now. I'm looking at Facebook and I'm looking at Zoom and YouTube. The phone. The phone has almost everything you need, pretty much everything you need for your business. You can transact pretty much everything you want on your phone. You can. You can open houses. You can send contracts. You can create contracts. You can sign contracts. You can correspond with the parties in the transaction. You can do almost everything with your cell phone. So it's important to have a good cell phone, right? Now, creating contracts on a cell phone might be a little might be lengthy. It might be a lengthy process. So another tool that would be advantageous to get is a laptop or desktop. Laptop or desktop. I would suggest a laptop because you can take it to your appointments and you can look up things on it. You can provide presentations on it. That would be a second tool I would put in my toolkit. The third tool that I would put in my toolkit would be a CRM. What's a CRM? A CRM is a contact relationship management program. There are several that you have to choose from, but you get something that is simple enough that you would use it. Not something that's so complicated that has so many bells and whistles that it's not something that you would even use. So get a CRM, okay? And the other thing that I would get if I had to do it all over again is I would get a mentor. I would get someone or a coach, someone that would help me to stay on course, someone that would help me figure out what the next steps are to get to the end goal that I want to get to. I had talked yesterday about this goal of this monetary goal that you could have, right? So you have the monetary goal, but you're going to have to take that goal and break it down into smaller steps. And the smaller steps would have to be the average sales price. Take that goal and divide the average sales price into it. Once you do that, you have a number, and that number, okay, I'm looking at all these alerts. So you have the goal, the commission goal, and you have the average sales price. And once you divide the average sales price into the goal, you have the number of transactions that you need to achieve your goal. It's just that simple. ABC 1, 2, 3. Now, here's where the work comes in. You have to do the work. If there's 20 transactions that you need to reach your goal, then you have to do the prospecting that leads to the ultimate transaction to get that first of the 20, if you will. So you would need to do the work to get the goal achieved. No one's going to do it for you. Now, a coach and a mentor will encourage you, will say, okay, what are you doing? What are the steps that you're taking? Are you making those calls? Are you sending those emails? Are you visiting? Are you setting appointments? What are you doing to get to that next stage? And if you're not willing to do the work, then why make an investment? Only invest if you're willing to do the work. Invest if you're willing to do the work. Get a mentor, get a coach if you're willing to do the work. If you're not willing to do the work, don't spend the money. It's a waste. There's so many things that you could purchase that you never use, like kitchen gadgets. There's online subscriptions that you can get that you never use, right? But I would say only get a mentor or coach if you're willing to do the work, because they're not going to do it for you. Now, there are some programs where you can get the work done for you, and it just costs more. And if you don't want to do the work, if you don't want to set your systems up to where you can automate them, then you could pay a little bit more for someone to do that for you. That's an option. That is an option. But I want to encourage you to get a mentor, get a coach, get someone to help you navigate through these shark-infested waters, as I call it. Because when I got into real estate, that's what I felt like. I felt like everyone was just out for themselves, and there was no camaraderie, no esprit de corps, as we used to say in the military. I didn't feel that. But I started to realize that I needed to reach out and start getting my own coaching, my own mentoring, because I needed more than what was just at the table, just within those four walls of my office. I needed more. Maybe you need more. Only you can decide that. Only you can decide that. And so at the end of today's Zoom, at the end of today's Facebook, I'll share with you an opportunity for you to either get lifetime access to these recordings. Maybe these recordings are enough to inspire you. I surely hope they are. I surely hope they are. So the recordings, you will get the recordings to help you get on track, to maybe get you pointed in the right direction, to get you started so you can remember to 5x your leads. Take some notes. Hopefully you've taken good notes. Go back to the recordings at your leisure. I'll create some content on a weekly basis just to keep you engaged, and that'll be on the Facebook page. So that'll be there for you. And that'll be I believe I'm charging $18. So $18 for lifetime access for this content. And I will also give you access to previous recordings on the free 5-day rookie realtor challenge because I've done this a couple of times. Each time I provide a little something new, a little something extra. I'm starting to post it on my realtor page and YouTube. I haven't figured out Instagram because Instagram, it has to be very short, like 30 seconds. So I have to find a really powerful 30-second snippet, but you'll get the privilege of having those as well. Again, lifetime access. And if you want a little more, let's see what that is. If you want a little more, so with that 18, I'll upload some templates. I did not upload the templates because this is the free portion and I wanted to share the templates with the people who were willing to invest. Because if you're not willing to invest, then to me, you probably won't use it. So I will upload that for those who do take the offer of the lifetime access for $18. And this offer will go away on Sunday night. I'll be running this again tomorrow with a short session of some testimonials from people. I'll post those up for on day 5 in the guides. Make sure you look at the guides if you have not. Look at the guides, guide 1, guide 2, guide 3, guide 4. All of them will have the replays. Now you can continue to listen to the replays up until Sunday night at midnight. I'll keep them on there. But if you're interested in having that access for lifetime, again, $18. Very simple investment. Now, if you're interested in a little bit more, I'll be able to provide a free book to help provide some more information. I'll provide a free book and I'll provide 30 days of coaching, 4 sessions. That's a lot. 40 days. 40 days. No. 4 weeks. So that'll be 4 30-minute sessions, $97. Wow. Okay. And then the next one will be the actual course. I have a course with a series. So there'll be Rookie Realtor 100, 102.0. I'll give you all of those. Plus, we'll have weekly group coaching for 90 days. 90 days. Okay. And that one is $495. And then it continues to go up from there. If you have more interest in going beyond that, I'll definitely be able to share that with you. It's basically my value ladder. I'll share that with you. I'll put that on the Facebook page. Okay, so you'll be able to see that. And maybe I won't put that on Zoom. That'll just be for the Facebook page. All right, well, we're getting down to the last couple of minutes. Let's see, what else did I want to share with you? Mentorship, we talked about, and limiting belief, we talked about customer and client. Business plan, we talked about business plan, growing. I know what I wanted to remind you of. Well, we're in October now, but September was Realtor Safety Month. And I talked about being safe. And I don't think it's just one month we need to think about being safe. It's pretty much every day. There have been realtors that have lost their lives being in this business just because they were, just in the wrong place. They were in the right place at the wrong time. They met the wrong person at the right time. Just unimaginable things, from holding an open house or going to show property in a remote location. I just want to encourage you that you are important and that this business is not worth losing your life over. I was so zealous to get my first buyer that I went out to a remote place, which was unwise, without telling somebody where I was going, without bringing someone along, meeting a stranger that I didn't know. So be safe. I gave some instances of things that I do when I show to people that I don't know. I've stopped driving people around in my car that I don't know. I meet people at properties. I make sure that my car is turned in a direction of me being able to leave quickly. What else do I do? And the sheriff actually told me that. Our local sheriff here told me that. Um, he said to make sure, he says that's what the police always do. They always turn, the sheriff's office, they always turn and face outward so that they can leave as quickly as possible. Now, when I'm in the house, I've learned, this is something I've learned and I've taught my brokers, is that when you're in a house, showing a house, make sure you're between the door and the client. So if the client is at the door, sorry, somebody keeps calling me. If the client is at the door, let me get this straight. You shouldn't be in this position, meaning you're trapped. So you should be like the client should be right here where I am, and you should be over where the lamp is. I don't know if you can see it on the screen. Okay. So you should be over where the lamp is. So this is the client, the lamp is you, and the door. So always be between the door and your client. Be safe. You are important. You can do this. And I'll end with this visualization. If you could, with me, when these last 3 minutes, visualize, close your eyes. What is it that you want to achieve in real estate? What is your number one thought, your number one goal that you want to achieve? And where do you see yourself receiving that? Do you see yourself up on a stage? Do you see yourself purchasing your first home? Do you see yourself selling your first multi-million-dollar transaction? Where do you see yourself? And I would encourage you to dream big. Dream bigger than what's practical. Dream bigger than you've ever dreamed before, because it is possible. It is possible because you have the power, you have the ability to do it. And so with that, I want to thank you for, oh, keep getting these alerts. I want to thank you for joining the free 5-day Rookie Realtor Challenge. On day 4, we did it again. Please go and do the homework, do your work. Go on Facebook Live within this group and share your biggest takeaway. Share your biggest takeaway. Okay, keep getting these calls. Share your biggest takeaway and what would you like for our last day? And what would you like for bonuses? Any bonus sessions that you'd like? And tomorrow, since tomorrow's the 2nd, I will likely change the time because I'm doing a event with the city of Lacey for like a kids fair tomorrow. So I will change the time just to accommodate that, but I may come live during that just to share a little bit of community service that's going on. So look forward to seeing you all tomorrow. Do your homework, go live, share your biggest takeaway. And if there's anything that you'd like to see or hear that you haven't heard yet, let me know. I keep getting these alerts. I'll have to figure out a way to stop the alerts from coming in while I'm on. All right. All right. Make it a great day.